Hey guys, this is Mel, and I'm here to talk about Supernatural, episode 1306, titled Tombstone, which premiered Thursday, November 16th, 2017 on the CW. It is November 18th that I'm recording this on, so huge spoiler alert, guys. If you haven't seen the episode already, please go do so first, and then come back and see what to say about the episode. Otherwise, my other videos and reminders are up on screen right now, so take a moment to look at those. And I have to say, guys, I recorded my thoughts for 1305 hours before 1306 aired, and I was absolutely right. The episode definitely needs its own video to talk about. So with that said, let's start the 10-minute clock and let's begin with what happened in this episode. So timeline wise, it continues from where 1305 ended off, and that is with Castiel reuniting with Sam and Dean. Now that's timeline wise. The episode though kind of jumps forward 48 hours ahead, so that kind of skews you off a little bit though, but chronologically it's actually continuing from the end of 1305. Now the huge episode reminder is the fact that you get a whole bunch of reunions. Not only do you get the reunion that Castiel has between Sam and Dean, but then you later get the reunion / first meeting between Castiel and Jack as well. So there's that. Now the huge episode breakdown for the, I guess you could say, is pretty much two in a sense, depending on how you want to split it up. So the first one being all the different reunions you get. That's kind of pretty much the first portion of the episode. You get the reunion between the brothers and Castiel, and then you get them going back to the bunker and then having a reunion with Castiel and Jack. And then kind of broken off in between moments of the episode is where you get Jack trying to get to know Castiel and vice versa. So I guess you can kind of construe that as a storyline in a sense, but otherwise the major storyline of the episode is pretty much Cowboy Ghouls, as I'm calling it. This is where we see the whole team back together really to take on the case where there's a ghoul masquerading as a dead gunslinger. So far, this case was found by Jack, who has somehow picked up on how to look for cases like these by watching Sam and Dean, which is impressive. So there's that, and we also see Dean's love of the Western coming out. So in this episode, though, at the very last episode, we see Jack leaving the bunker by teleporting out because he does not want to risk harming Sam, Dean, and Castiel, as they are all he has left after the events of what happened on this ghoul hunt. So there's that. Now, tidbit-wise for the episode is the fact that we find out that Dean is an angry sleeper who still sleeps with a weapon under his pillow, which we've known since episode 104, except it was a knife at that point. But we've known he sleeps with a type of weapon under his pillow, so since the very first season. So there's that. And we also find out that he definitely can't function without his coffee. That's kind of a given, considering how much time Dean always goes to the coffee after he wakes up, but this one we truly see how much he needs it before he actually starts functioning normally. So there's that. Also, we find out that Jack has a little more of control on his powers, to the point that he can levitate a pencil at will, or call upon his blasting power, as you can say, when he needs to take down an enemy, but his control aspect of it is still questionable, which is why he leaves at the very end. But the end tally, or death tally as it were, you get the Deputy Carl Phillips being killed by Dave the Ghoul. We get Dave the Ghoul, aka Dave Mathers, being killed by Sergeant Phillips, who was the uncle, I believe, of the deceased Carl. But we get an innocent security guard at the bank being accidentally killed by Jack when Jack was trying to take down the ghoul. So there's that. So with Jack having his first accidental kill, that's what leads him to believe that he's a danger to everybody, and he takes off. So there's that. Now, most shocking moment of the episode, let's move on to that, would have to be the start of the episode was a flash forward 48 hours into the future. It definitely threw me off. I kind of expected the episode to start off with the reunion between Sam, Dean, and Castiel, since that was how the previous episode ended. Granted, chronologically, that's how the episode starts, but for us as a viewer, we get that flash forward first, so that completely threw me off, and I was like, wait, what? Am I missing something? So, I'm glad that it was just a flash forward. So, for that moment, it did surprise me. And then another surprise was the fact that Jack left. Granted, I can understand why he left, but it was still shocking that he actually left. I didn't think he had enough of a handle on his powers to actually use them to teleport out of there like an angel. So, there's that. Moving on to top 3 favorite moments, though, I have to say the first favorite I had was all the different reunions. The feeling behind those reunions, for sure. It's just great to see how opening and welcoming Castiel got from Sam and Dean, or how much the brothers were welcoming towards Castiel and welcoming him back. And then to have that first meeting between Jack and Castiel, and how Jack didn't hesitate after he realized that this was truly Castiel being back, how he didn't hesitate to hug him and say that he's missed him and all that. It was just really great. And then to later on have them try to learn from each other and see what they've missed and stuff like that. So I really like that. It's a long time coming. It's something I've been waiting to see happen. So I'm glad that we got the focus that we did on them. So there's that. Another favorite of mine has to be Dean telling Jack at the end of the episode that he is not a monster after Jack calls himself a monster. I'll admit I wasn't expecting that, especially not so soon, I guess you could say, since it's only been like 2 episodes since Dean has started seeing Jack differently, or started to see him as not as a threat. For them, it could have been only been a few days for that. Or maybe a week or something. But while it was a surprise to see how quickly it's happened, I'm very glad that it did. It's from Dean's words of telling Jack that he is not a monster, and how he's saying that if by how you are describing and defining a monster, then pretty much the rest of them are monsters too, and how he's kind of including the fact that if Jack's a monster, they are all monsters in a sense, and just trying to bring comfort to Jack. I really like that. I'm very glad to see Dean get to that point, no matter how fast it may seem in my head when it comes to timelines. But it's great to see him reach that point after everything that Sam's been telling him, after everything we've seen over the last 13 years as to how much they could compare to what they hunt, essentially, when they don't want to realize that. But it's just great for Dean, of all people, to tell Jack that he is not a monster. That, I'm glad it was him who said that. So there's that. Another favorite of mine has to be Castiel telling Jack that Kelly would be proud of him. That happened at the hotel while the brothers were sleeping. I really like that moment happened. It's a moment that Jack needed to have, because essentially Castiel was the only one out of the 3 of them who actually took time to know Kelly, to get to know what she had planned for Jack, what she had hoped for Jack. And Castiel was able to see that, and if anyone, he was able to tell what she was going through, or how she's going. Because as an angel, he could have seen any parts of her life or something. I don't know. But it was definitely a great moment for Jack to hear from Castiel, of all people, and to realize also, in a sense, Castiel hearing from Jack why Kelly had picked him to be Jack's guardian angel, as it were. So it was a great moment to have, a great bonding moment in itself. So there's that. Another favorite moment, it was a funny moment, and it's the fact that we got to see Dean's excitement over the Western theme, over Cowboys, at its all-time high. Since the beginning of the season, he hasn't really smiled. He's been down, he's been depressed and everything. So just to see him smile and having joy in something as simple as a Western theme was a great difference to see. It definitely lightened up the mood, and just, you can really see this is a hobby or a likeness for Dean when he starts spouting off these facts, starts bringing all these references and stuff like that. And when Sam is unknown of something, then it really shows that this is something that Dean is like, this is my thing type of thing outside of hunting. So it was just a great change of attitude to get from Dean. So I really like that. And then also another funny favorite part of mine was Castiel telling Jack that Dean is an angry sleeper. That scene was absolutely hilarious. Jack was all innocent and how like, oh, we got to tell him this is new information and stuff. And Castiel's trying to warn him. He's like, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You do not want to see happen next. And you continue. And he continued to, and we get to see what happens. Dean pulls the gun on Jack because he was woken up. And he's just like, groggy, is like, he's not letting go of his target. And Jack's just like, it's me, Dean, it's me. And then only when he sees Castiel does he realize that Jack is not a threat and type of thing. And just going back to sleep after asking who's making my coffee. That scene is hilarious. I can watch that scene over and over again and still laugh about it every time. It's one of those funny quirks that you get to learn a little bit about the characters and then see it unfold. It's just something mundane that happens in a sense. I mean, waking someone up and such, but it's still fun to see. And then Castiel just going like, I told you, this is what he does. And you can't argue with that. So it's funny. And then also from that was when Sam divvy outs who's doing what. He takes Jack to the graveyard and sends Cass and Dean to the crime scene. And everyone's getting ready to leave. Castiel's getting up and Dean's just motioning to him saying like, hold on, we're not leaving until I finish my coffee. Sit back down. I love that it was just all these small little hand gestures. There's the timer. I love that it was all small little hand gestures, but Castiel knew the message behind it. It's like, okay, we're not going anywhere. I have to wait till you finish coffee. And Dean's like, I am not going anywhere until I finish it. So it was hilarious. It just shows the familiarity they have between each other, and the situation in a sense. I mean, like, it makes you wonder how many times have they had to wake Dean up like this and go straight off to work and yet having to wait for him to finish his coffee. I mean, it's understandable, but it was a fun little moment just to see them get back in the swing of things, and I know that Destiel fans are probably going crazy over it. So there's that. Moving on to top 3 peeve moments. Only peeve I really have revolves around Jack in the sense that, first off, he accidentally kills a guard. I mean, it's like, what, his second hunt out of the gate, first time with Castiel, and he finally, you saw that he was confident, he finally had an inkling of a grip on his powers, and it ends up going sideways, and it sucks for him, really, because now he's rethinking everything, like, oh, maybe I am bad and everything, and maybe I'm not meant to do good. It just has him questioning everything, and that peeves me, because he was just getting his footing and everything. It's just like, we just got the team back together, which is another peeve of mine. The fact that Jack left after we just got Team Free Will 2.0 back together, as Dean calls it. So it's just like, just when we have all 4 characters back on the same page, one of them takes off. So that's a peeve of mine right there. But moving on to what we'll remember most when I look back on this episode, reunions and cowboys is definitely going to be a huge one. And also, for some strange reason, the episode Tombstone is going to be a huge helpful reminder of the fact of cowboys, because every time I hear Tombstone, I'm now thinking Tombstone the Bull from the TV show Girl Meets World, which had Tombstone the Bull in very prominent episodes where the whole love triangle was taking place. And if you don't know, I'm a huge Lucaya fan, so Tombstone is always a huge reminder of that. So that's a little segue from there, guys, or a tangent if you were. I'm pretty sure it's called a tangent. But anyways, moving on to random questions. First one being, is there something wrong with Castiel's ability to heal, or was it just his inability to heal because the guard was just too far gone to be healed? He was already dead. So there's that. But then again, hasn't Castiel healed people from the dead before, not counting when he was in his godly state, as it were? Second question being, would Dean still have been happy about having a cowboy case such as this episode and more accepting of Jack if Castiel wasn't back? Was Castiel the huge changing factor for Dean in having this positive attitude, or would we have still gotten the Dean of this episode if Castiel wasn't involved? That's my huge question. I'm just wondering how much of an influence Castiel's presence has on Dean's acceptance of certain things, or perspective of enjoyments and stuff, if that makes sense. So anyways, huge predictions, or let's go to predictions. Based off the promo for 1307, it looks like Sam, Dean, and Castiel are racing to find Jack before the angels and the demons do, and it looks like Asmundus is back as well. Based off the synopsis, though, for the episode, and it reads that as Sam and Dean continue their search for Jack, with Asmundus hot on their trail, they stumble across a familiar foe. Meanwhile, Lucifer manages to escape Michael's grasp and finds himself an unlikely and most unwilling ally. So, after a few episodes, we get to see the Apocalypse world back again. I don't think we've seen them since 1302, since the second episode. So, it's been about 5 weeks now since we've seen, so we don't know what has happened since then. So, that'll be interesting. Also, we get to see the last Prince of Hell back. So there's that. I'm also wondering what this familiar foe is going to be that Sam and Dean come across. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see about that. But otherwise, I don't really have any other predictions for the episode. But what did you guys think of it? What do you guys think is going to happen next? Let me know in your comments down below. Love to hear your own thoughts, theories, opinions about what you think is going to happen in the upcoming episodes. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check my other videos if you haven't done so already. If you want, check out my Tumblr page. The link for that is down below. I reblog, promos, web clips, quotes, gifs, synopses, news, all that good stuff, all found in one place, so go check it out. It's also connected to my WordPress account. Same thing, link for that is down below. Anything I post online is connected to WordPress. It's a little more organized, but it's more work in progress than with Tumblr. But I do hope you check it out. If you want a detailed recap of the episode, a play-by-play, if you will, of the episode as I watch it for the first time, with in-moment thoughts included in the jot-noted version, please check out my Livejournal entry. Link for that is down below. It definitely helps me keep things in place, keep orders in check, and the GIFs just help me remind certain aspects of the episode. GIFs, which I find on Tumblr and most likely would have reblogged on Tumblr. So it's all interconnected there, guys. But I do hope you check it out if it's helpful for you. Otherwise, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for your patience. I hope you come back next time to hear what to say about the next episode. But until then, this is Mel. Wish you all a great day, great week, wherever you are. Bye for now.